The lesson on academic writing skills is the structure, functions, and language use of data commentary. We will begin with the introduction to data commentary. Then, we move on to its structure, functions, and the language use. Finally, we will have some practices and quiz to check out learning. Now, let's start from the introduction. We'll learn three things. What is data commentary? Why using data commentary? And the two main functions of data commentary. So, what is data commentary? It's a type of writing that accompanies a visual display in order to discuss data or discuss the implications of the data for supporting the idea in the main text. There are 5 major purposes for data commentary: to highlight results, to assess standard theory, common beliefs, or general practice, to compare and evaluate different data sets, and to discuss the implications of the data. Usually, it will include at least 3 purposes. Let's look at this example. What purposes can we identify in this passage? The keywords: a gradual increase in the hours spent on previewing for all students from week 11 to week 14. In sentence 2, highlights the result and compares the data sets about hours spent between different students. And the words might indicate that further assistance from the teacher may be needed to help students learn more effectively. In sentence 3, discuss the implication of the data. To guide the reader through the data, it's important to have data presented with a data commentary. 2 major functions of data commentary are to direct the readers to the tables or figures, and to help the readers focus on the most significant parts of the results. Now, let's move on to learn its structure and functions. There are 3 elements in the structure, and they appear in the following order: location elements and/or summary statements, highlighting statements, and concluding a commentary. So the first part of data commentary is the location elements and/or summary statements. Location elements direct readers to the tables or figures, and summary statements show important information or key findings of the data in tables or figures. Next, highlighting statements can be used to show generalizations, key trend or contrasts, and make claims of appropriate strength. The final part of data commentary is concluding a commentary, which is used to provide explanations or implications, to explain unexpected results or unsatisfactory data, and point out possible future research or predictions. Okay, so get the answer? The first should be the location element and summary statement. The second one should be the highlighting statement. And the final one is concluding a commentary. We have learned the 3 elements in the structure and their functions, but are there any clues? That is, the keywords that help us identify the structure. Now, let's learn more about the language used in each element. Okay, let's look at the language used in the same example. First, Figure 2 shows is a location element to refer to the figure and introduce the summary statement. The noun phrases, the hours spent on previewing per week from week 9 to week 14 for student A, B, and C in AP course. Second, as can be seen in Figure 2, is used to introduce the 2 key findings of the data: spent the least hour previewing and a gradual increase in the hours spent on previewing for all students. Finally, might indicate points out the implication of data. We can also use passive voice or as clause in the location element and summary statement, such as shown in Figure 2 or as shown in Figure 2. Next, the language used to highlight the key trend or contrast is as follows. We use sharp decline, the adjective and noun, to point out the dramatic change, and we use less than half of the hours to show significant comparison between the hours spent in different weeks. In the second sentence, we move from week 11 to week 14 to the front to emphasize the period for the change. Finally, in the last sentence, increases sharply. The verb and the adverb can also be used to show the change. More collocations are provided here, verbs with adverbs and adjectives with nouns. As shown in the table, some vocabulary can be used in two forms. For example, decline can be used with the adverb slightly as a verb, and used with the adjective slight as a noun. As can be seen, verbs or nouns usually point out the direction of the changes, while the adverbs or adjectives show the degree or the speed of the changes. Sometimes the verbs show the direction and the degree or speed at the same time. Also, the verbs here can be used to describe the two main directions of change, rising or falling, and the specific points. So, we can describe the degree of the changes as large or small, while describing the speed of the changes as fast or slow using the following words. Finally, in concluding a commentary, the Hedging language might or may, for example, can be used with verbs and that clauses to provide explanations and implications of the data. We've learned the functions and the language use in the three elements in the structure of data commentary. As we can see, language gives clues for us to identify the three elements in the structure. So, let's practice to check out how much we have learned. Please put down the numbers for each statement. Okay, so for location element and or summary statement, we can use figure 2 shows or the sentence as shown in figure 2. To show the highlighting statements, both forms can be used. Adjective with noun, the gradual increase, and verb with adverb, decline sharply. Finally, to show implications in concluding a commentary, we can use the Hedging language, might or may, and verbs, indicate or suggest, with that clauses. Next, please match the descriptions with the appropriate structure, location elements, and or summary statements, highlighting statements, and concluding a commentary. What are the important keywords in the descriptions that help us identify the structure? Get the answer? As what we have learned, the keywords in red help us identify which element each sentence represents. Now, let's move on to the quiz to check our learning. Please match the three elements in the structure with the functions. Okay, let's look at the answers. For the three elements in order, we have to use location elements and or summary statements first to direct readers to the table and show important information in tables or figures. Then, highlighting statements are used to show generalizations, key trend or contrasts, and make claims of appropriate strength. Finally, concluding a commentary is used to provide explanations and or implications, to explain why unexpected results or unsatisfactory data occurs, and to point out possible future research or predictions. Okay, so let's quickly review what we have learned. As can be seen in the table, The three elements in the structure have their own functions. And as shown in the table, language helps us identify the three elements in the structure and their functions. So, when writing the data commentary, we have to choose the right words to describe the data in each element based on different purposes. Thank you for joining the lesson. The lesson is funded by the Ministry of Education.